In our first story, Joy News has learned that the man whose injections led to the death of 4 persons at the new Senchi Health Center has been arraigned on the charge of murder. Health officials in the eastern region have revealed the suspect was operating a private clinic at the facility. The victims had gone to the facility for skin infections, but the retired disease control officer, James Yeboah, is said to have administered contaminated injections. According to the sources, even though he had retired 6 years ago, he uses the facility for his private gain. The district chief executive for Isujaman, Samuel Kwame Ejekum, joins me via telephone now for an update of that situation. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, madam.
Now, we have gathered that the suspects were arraigned today. Give us details.
Yes, they were arraigned at the Tamale District Court. James Yeboah was charged with that provisional charge of murder, and the other man with abetment of crime. And he's been remanded by the court. So that's the list I can give you on the issue.
I see. In terms of any assistance for the families of those who were affected or who died, are you considering giving them compensation of any sort?
Yeah, I can tell you that. As I speak to you now, we are on our way. In fact, the Deputy Minister of Health is here. The Deputy Director General of Ghana Health Service is here. The Regional Director of Ghana Health, a host of them. They are all here. We met this evening at the clinic, and from there we went to visit one of the victims' home. We are on our way to visit another victim's home. So definitely the health authorities would have something to give to the family. Yes.
Now, we do know that you are still, investigating this matter, but tell us, how could they have operated on the blind side of the health authorities?
Yes, that is part of the investigations that is being conducted. My understanding is that this man has been operating this clinic for about 22 years, and he's been doing the same work as a disease control officer. And for 22 years, he's been doing the same thing. So no one understands how come this happened. And it's only investigations that can bring about what actually happened. So all these are being investigated under investigation. So we are waiting for the outcome of the investigations being conducted.
Yeah, and let's stay on the issue of investigations. What has Mr. Yeboah himself been saying in his own defense?
Well, for now, I can't tell you exactly what he has been saying because he's been on remand. In police custody, and the CID, the detectives, are handling the issue, the criminal aspect. Apart from that, the Ghana Food and Drugs Authority and the Ghana Health Service themselves are all set up bodies to investigate. I understand a sample has been sent to Noguchi Memorial Institute. So as for what he himself has been saying in his defense, I'm not privy.
So we don't know whether he has pleaded guilty or not.
No, he hasn't pleaded guilty.
Okay.
He hasn't pleaded guilty.
All right. Now, what happens to the facility? Has it been shut down or it will continue to operate?
The facility is continuing to operate. The OPD is still in operation. It is injection which the facility has been stopped from giving injection until further notice. So the normal OPD services is being rendered.
All right. Many thanks. That is DC for Isujaman joining us on the line with an update on that situation at the health facility in Senchi, Mr. Jekum there. Many thanks for your time, sir. Let's move on. We're still staying on health. Some nurses and patients at the Tamale West Hospital are raising red flags over a dilapidated structure they operate in. They say they put their lives in preventable danger each day they walk into the building to undertake their duties and access health care. They're concerned another facility that could serve as the outpatient department is rather locked, although completed. Correspondent Martina Bugri reports.
The Tamale West Hospital is a strategic facility providing health care service to patients within the Tamale metropolis. Averagely, the OPD receives about 500 patients, but with the deep cracks further deepening, the staff in the facility fear they may be risking their lives. One of the nurses spoke to Joy News.
The cracks are causing danger to staff and clients. Because as you can see, we can't tell when disaster will befall on us. And we are working in an environment, in a frightened environment. We can't really tell what will happen next. When it rains, there's thunder, the building vibrates. The foundation is weak. The cracks have gone all the way down the foundation. So it's a very risky place to work.
The patients who visit the facility do not only see the building collapsing in the near future, but also fear the danger lurking around the building. Mohammed Abdul Kadir has a relative on admission who had told him that some days ago a snake tried entering the building.
I'm not feeling very comfortable. But looking at the grass, the place is now in death trap. But what can we do? It's not supposed to be a hospital or the ward. The grass alone can cause more harm to the patient and even the patient. You look at the floor, that as you can see has been tarred. But the cracks alone, we are living with reptiles, other animals, and our place of disposal of other materials are just among the patients. So we are put the authority to look at it and see how the best we can solve the problem for us. The hospital is that was 2 days ago. When I came to visit my patient, he told me that there was a snake at the hospital trying to come in.
A patient, Ayuba Zakari, described the place as a death trap. Meanwhile, private developers have also encroached on the land of the Tamale West Hospital. What started with movable kiosks and containers has now graduated to the building of permanent structures. The secretary of the Concerned Nurses Association, Hanan Confidence Abdul, says the hospital initially planned to use the encroached area as lawns, but that purpose has been defeated.
Because usually when you build on your boundaries, you leave 7 feet. The hospital initially planned using the outer space for lawns so that it could give the hospital some aesthetic value. And if you assess the situation as it is now, you realize that the entire boundaries of the hospital is very clumsy.
The hospital atmosphere is also not conducive as noise pollution from encroachers is high. Mr. Confidence Abdul appealed to the mayor of Tamale to intervene and help the hospital relocate the illegal settlers.
And first of all, some of their activities, one way or the other, may create some kind of discomfort or pollution, noise pollution, for the patients as well as the workers. And you know very well that in a noisy environment, people will not be able to be productive. So I am particularly appealing to our Metropolitan Chief Executive, who have shown passion in transforming the city relative to positive developmental ways to kindly intervene.
You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a short break, but still to come, Ghana Revenue Authority comes under criticism by some members of the public for inadequate sensitization about tax identification number.
There has not been much education on it. So I think they should educate more, do more education on it so that everybody will come to terms to it, so that the thing can work effectively.
We'll hear from them as the authority begins to enforce the policy.
One cannot transact business with these institutions if one does not have the thing. You cannot clear goods from the ports, open a bank account, you cannot file a case at the courts, you cannot obtain a passport from the passport office.
Details when we return. Yeah, welcome back. Now, 12 Nigerians are in the custody of the New Wager District Police after they were nearly attacked by some angry residents in that vicinity. Information went out Easter Monday morning that the men living in a 3-bedroom house at Azuma, very close to Aibe Town, both suburbs of New Wager, were engaged in internet fraud after 2 new people who were brought from Nigeria ostensibly to work were reportedly confined without food and given laptops to defraud people. One of the 2 men escaped from the house and alerted some of the residents. Maxwell Agbaba has come through with this report.
Tucked away from the main Accra Kaswa streets is a 3-bedroom structure with a green ceiling where the Nigerians allegedly carried out their nefarious activities. From afar, one can see the barbed wires used as an additional protection for the giant fence. One of the escapees who narrated his ordeal to some of the residents said they were confined in rooms and handed laptops to defraud people. They were also denied food. One of the residents who encountered the Nigerian escapee is standing with me on a hill overlooking the house where they were confined. He told me how they got information about the activities of the men.
And then I met a guy, we asked him, and he said he's a foreigner, he's a Nigerian. So some people are brought him here, in Ghana here 4 days ago. So he don't know any place, so they kidnap them in the room. No food, no water. They beating them day and morning. So we follow him, do investigation, search the area, and then we saw the house. And then we enter the house. The time the guys see us in the front of the gate, they are starting jumping the wall. So 2 are running away. And then we are conquer the house. And then we open the gates, we enter inside. They are running away into the ceiling in the room. So we put torchlight on the ceiling. We see that they are sitting there on the top of the ceiling. So we will tell them to get down. If they don't come down, we will fire the house. So they fear. So all of them get down. That's why the people are calling police to come and arrest them. In the hall, we see many laptops at the center table. We counting the laptop, it's 25 laptops. He said they kidnapped them for 4 days. No food, no water. Even if you feel to sleep small, they will slap you. They're beating you hardly. Because they told them that the work they want them to do is a fraud work. So in the beginning, they didn't explain the work, the business for the guy to come to Ghana to do. But they said that it's a monthly work. So if they do that work, they will pay them monthly. So that's why he came to Ghana here. They no eat, they no bath, they no sleep. So the time we enter the house, we see that the one is weak. He can't talk, he can't do anything. So the police arrived that one to the hospital at Akaway.
I've now met Odro Ampao at the New Wager District Police Station. He's the assemblyman for the area. He corroborates the report so far based on laptops retrieved from the house.
The Nigerian people, they give me a problem here. They are not working. When they come, they will rent the whole house and pile the people inside. This, for example, the boy says, when I confronted, they say they can't go out. So the one who brought them here, and we only send them to the house, they are not going outside. Every day inside. So they are training them for the job they want to do for them. They're fraud and meeting people and breaking people's houses and all these things. So they are being trained. Now this is what they do. They'll cut the whole house and they'll be there and train themselves how to steal. Internet fraud.
The 12 Nigerians are still in the custody of the new wager police. When we arrived here, some officers were taking mark shots of the 12 Nigerians. We were interacting with the district commander here, who told us that they found 20 laptops in the house where the Nigerians were operating.
That is true. When we brought the 12 Nigerians to the office, some few minutes later, some two other Nigerians called in to say that they were brought from Nigeria by one Nelson, who currently is not in Ghana. He's gone back to Nigeria. They were brought to Ghana to come and work. As to what work they were coming to do, they were not told. But when they got here, then the Nelson told them he was coming to give them laptops and teach them how to browse the internet and defraud people. So they told him they were not interested. They were not interested, and for that matter, they wanted to go back to Nigeria. The Nelson did not allow them to go back, but he rather left them behind. And he's, as we speak now, in Nigeria. This lady here, we found laptops.
Are you able to tell us how many laptops you found when you went to that?
We found about close to 20 laptops, which we intend forwarding to our anti-cyber crime unit to assist us in further investigations. They are going to go through them and see whether they've actually used them in committing any crimes of crime.
So what's the police doing to apprehend the Nelson who brought the two people here together?
We are working on that. For now, I can't open up on that. You leave that to us. We are working on it, and we'll surely get him. Wherever he is, we'll get him to come and tell us why he brought them here.
Police say they are vetting the 20 laptops retrieved from the house for evidence of internet fraud.
Now, most of you may be familiar with what is called a tax identification number, or TIN. It's an 11-digit identification that the Ghana Revenue Authority requires all taxpayers to have to ensure tax compliance. So any Ghanaian without this number cannot get, among others, a driver's license, a bank account or passport. But in spite of assurances by the authority that it has sensitized the public on this, it appears not many people are aware of this new policy. Kamladum has more.
For decades, successive governments have stressed the need to widen the tax net in Ghana as a means of generating more revenue for the state to fund developmental programs. While the NPP administration believes the implementation of the tax identification number system will help to do just that. And beginning this month, the Ghana Revenue Authority will be enforcing the policy to ensure all Ghanaians adhere to it. It is a process requiring only one's particulars, that's date of birth, age, residential address and the like. One needs it to transact even the basic activities such as acquiring a passport.
You cannot clear goods from the ports, register your land document with the Lands Commission, obtain a tax clearance certificate from the GRA, register your company at the Registrar General Department, obtain payment for jobs, contracts done for government. You cannot file a case at the courts, nor bid for contracts from government agencies.
This, according to the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Kofi Nti, is a way of broadening the tax net to be able to monitor all individuals, both in the formal and informal sector, in terms of the transactions they make.
The Revenue Administrations Act, RAA 2016 Act 915, gives legal backing to the TIN. The TIN is an 11-digit unique number given to identify you and enable GRA credit to you whenever you pay your tax. Effectively, it is to capture all potential taxpayers.
But how much would it cost the individual to have this TIN?
I wish to reiterate that registering for TIN comes at no cost to the taxpayer.
The authority says it has collaborated with all relevant agencies to ensure the enforcement of a policy.
On the sensitization issue you raised, We are getting collaboration with the NCCE and then the ISD so that our outreach to the communities will be enhanced. But so far, we've done enough in that area.
It appears many of the Ghanaians around the country do not have an idea about this particular implementation of a tax identification numbers, which is being implemented across the country today.
We have heard about it, but there has not been much education on it. So I think they should educate more, do more education on it so that everybody will come to terms to it. What I've heard about it is that now it is a must for every Ghanaian to get a tax identification number. With me, I don't have much problem with it because I know that as a citizen, you have to be able to pay your tax, file your tax returns and stuff. But I think the masses, how we be able to get them along so that we all build a better nation. That is what is at stake.
I heard about it about 3 weeks, close to a month ago or something. But really, I don't know more about it. As in, we are not being educated in a whole lot of things, so it's like it's very new to a whole lot of people. I didn't know you asking me, telling me it's starting from today. I didn't know all about this. They should educate us more.
I spotted this morning and my dad was telling me about it, and I was like, it's not a good thing that much because some of us not working and wanting to apply for a passport is going to be a problem. So they should try and do something about it.
So what did he tell you about it?
He told me that you need, before you have to get a passport, you need a verification from the tax to show that you're a taxpayer and stuff before you can apply for. And it didn't sound well though.
But you know that getting this particular pin is free. You just have to go to the GRA, get a form. Do you know that it's free?
No, I never knew about that.
Okay, so frankly, you hadn't heard about it until your father told you about it?
Until he told me about it, I never heard.
Now, the Revenue Authority are saying that you only walk to their offices, get a form where you have voter ID number and those particulars that you have to fill. Once you fill that, then they issue you with a number, and that is the number you use when you want to go and do anything.
If it wouldn't, it's not going to be a great, going through hell to go to get that. It's okay. But if it's going to be a problem, you having to go and you keep going to come, then that one will be a different problem altogether.
So you heard there's some Ghanaians speaking on the new tax identification number, saying that many of them are not aware of its implementation. We were scheduled to speak to the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Kofi Inti. We have not reached him, but when we do reach him, we will be speaking to him on the concerns that have come up. Well, moving on, there may be shortage of fuel in the country soon, according to the Senior Staff Association of the Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Company Limited. The association is blaming the activities of a cartel of bulk oil distribution companies, or BDCs, for what they say or describe as the imminent shortage. In a statement, the association accuses the cartel of influencing the rapid increase of fuel prices under the guise of deregulation. Ernest Menu joins me in the studio with a copy of that statement. Good evening to you, Ernest.
Good evening, Araba.
Okay, so what are some of the issues that they've raised in the statement?
So they're saying in the statement that BOST is now crippled, and it's because we have some BDCs they refer to as a great cartel taking over the petroleum market. Now, on the contrary, the statement says government is preventing the same cartel from their illegal activities such as fuel dumping, diversion of premixed fuel, diversion of marine fuel, adulteration of fuel, and etc. For this reason, they are not happy and will therefore mislead the government by increasing fuel prices anyhow. And they here refer to the BDCs. The senior management of BOSS is saying that because government is preventing these illegal activities, they are not happy and will therefore go ahead with the increase of petroleum products with excuses that the international fuel prices have gone up. In other words, they're saying that the BDCs will be sabotaging government because of these holes that are being blocked. Now, the statement goes on to say that they were enjoying all these illegal activities previously and will only be happy when that opportunity is made available. To avoid this agenda of the great cartel, it is advisable that it's advisable to empower the 100% government-owned boss to compete with them so that their plans will be curtailed. So the Senior Staff Association is saying that boss should be allowed to do trading now so that they can get to control the pricing on the market. Otherwise, you'd have these BDCs control government, sabotage government through deregulation, which we now understand that government has no hand in. Right. Essentially, that is what the statement is saying, and they're calling on government to intervene in the situation. All right, many thanks, Ernest, with those details. Well, we've been speaking to Duncan Amor, who's spokesperson for the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers. Here's what he had to say in reaction to the association's concerns.
Indeed, you don't need government to intervene if your licenses allow you to trade. You don't need government to intervene if you know the market, you know how to get your product, you know how to sell, make your profits, and keep stocking, right? Unfortunately, it looks as though they've run to a point where they now need a bailout, but they can't say. And so you would find a situation where they are arguing that the finance ministry is not even helping them with a waiver they want from Ghana Commercial Bank. You wouldn't need a waiver if your operations are profitable. You wouldn't need to go for $120 million from GCB to import products if you hadn't sold the other crude cheaply at a Donkomi rate and you had let this crude stay, refine, sell, bring in more products and do whatever you could do with it. Unfortunately, if you look at what is happening right now, the least it does for any of us is to encourage us.
So that was my colleague Ernest Menu speaking to spokesperson of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, Duncan Amor, on that concern raised by the Senior Staff Association at BOS. But you've been speaking to some highly placed sources at the Chamber of Bulk Oil
BDCs.
The BDCs,
yeah, been speaking,
yes. What have they been saying?
Essentially, they dismissed the concerns raised by the senior staff, reiterating the position of COPEC, but they also raising questions about the original mandate of BOS, which is they think that BOS, the laws that establish BOS does not allow it to trade. And so if now they want to venture into those areas, it must be set clear government must work a policy in that direction. Then they can begin to raise these issues. Again, they are asking why the management of BOS is not bringing out these issues, and that they have the Senior Staff Association rather raising the issues. They think that these are issues that management should be able to raise if at all it has legitimacy. So these are the concerns amongst the BDCs.
All right, many thanks, Ernest Menu. You're still watching Joy News Prime. Still ahead is business and some financial and public institutions yet to comply with the directive by the GRA to withdraw services from clients who do not have tax identification numbers. After the break with Daryl Kwao.
Hello everyone, welcome to Business. We begin with issues to do with the TIN registration, and despite the enforcement of the taxpayer identification number, checks by Joy Business show that some financial and public institutions are yet to comply with the directive. The Ghana Revenue Authority set April 1 as the official date for the full rollout of the tax identification number, but as it stands, compliance has so far been on the lower side. Charles Aite visited some institutions and has come through with this report.
From today, the Ghana Revenue Authority has ordered all financial services and public institutions to not transact businesses with clients if they do not have the tax identification number. Now, this 12-digit number is expected to be registered by all Ghanaians, especially those in the formal and informal sector, to ensure tax compliance. Well, we're currently here at the DVLA head office to find out whether or not this directive is currently in place. And checks by the client service that show that you do not need a tax identification number. I mean, this is exactly what one of the office personnel there, they tell us. You do not need one. All you need is a passport and, of course, 2 photographs in that very regard. But aside that of the DVLA, which says that you do not need a TRN, we also did visit various banks here in Accra. And major banks had 2 different solutions and, of course, reactions. They are saying that you do not need the TIN in order to open an individual or joint account opening, bank account in that regard. You can see the form right here, but if you go through the form, it is very clear in, black print. You do not need the tin. They claim that you need a tin in order to open an individual bank account. This is their account opening form, their individual account opening form, and in there tells us the fact that you need a passport, you need a current utility bill, a valid ID, but most of all you need the TRN in order to open your individual bank account number. Well, one bank is saying that they do not need a TRN, a different private bank is saying they need the TRN. Other public institutions are also giving various contradictory messages, but it is very clear that so far the directive hasn't gone down yet with both public and private institutions, as well as other clients in that very regard. We're hoping to see what things pans out in the couple of days, as we hope to also explore and give you updates as and when we do have them. I'm Charles Ayete reporting here at the DVLA office in Accra.
And we have the Commissioner General of the GRA, Emmanuel Kofinti, with us on the line to fill us in on all that is going on. I know you've had to do plenty talk today, but the major concern is that public education about this whole process is low. How does that come to you?
Yeah, it comes to me as a surprise. We've had several engagements with stakeholders on this very issue. And I mean, and we have records of people participating from being media houses, and then they saying now that there's been no publicity. It comes as a surprise. Because before you roll out something as important as the thing, you have to make sure that you have enough sensitization. And we believe we have done that.
Well, we've been to the streets, we've spoken to people, and you can clearly get the impression that people don't know about this tax identification number. It's not like we are making it up.
No, Raymond, what I would say is that this thing started as far back as 2011. And in the last 1 year, there's been a lot of sensitization with it. And you know, we have to even get the support of the NCC and then the ISD to further the work that GRA as an institution we have been doing. So, I mean, the observation which we are hearing is coming to us as a bit of a surprise. But that notwithstanding, because we are all acting for the betterment of Ghana and for generations to come, the comments are well listened to.
Okay.
And we have to up our game in the area. And we solicit your support, the media people, your support, to make sure that we are able to do more penetration than done before.
Sure. We have to up our game when it comes to public education, but there's still confusion surrounding who should have the tin. Now, we're saying that we need that number to be able to acquire our passports, bank accounts, and all of that. How about the young ones? Let's say, I mean, people who are not working yet.
Yes, in getting the thing, those below the age of employment and the rest, like those around 17 years and the rest, they can use their parents' ID to get them to get the registration done for them. But then to say that there are some people who are unemployed and so they cannot have things, somebody who is unemployed today may become tomorrow's highest investor, tomorrow's major employer. So let us not abuse our minds from the fact that it's a national thing. We as a people need to have every potential taxpayer in the tax net. And that one to be the clarion call that all of us as a people are in the tax net. And so let us look at it that way.
Okay.
Sensitize our people to get involved, because today maybe you are jobless, but tomorrow you may be the better employer.
All right. And well, all of this is happening when we anticipate the national identification system to come into effect. Now we have people who have SNIT IDs, employer IDs, and there are people who think that we should rather look at synchronizing the system rather than introduce this new one, which some others think could be cumbersome.
No, what I would say to that is that the national ID, the Ghana card, is going to be like a father and children in the house. And once you have the father, the national ID comes, the national ID will have a portal that has information on the thing. The national ID will have a portal that has information on the number, identification, and your driving license identification, your passport number, and the rest. So that if your name, Raymond Amalfo, is keyed in and your passport, your Ghana card number is 30004. I mean, once your name is typed in and the 3004 comes, within the spreadsheet, your relationship with the passport office will come. Your passport number will show. Your driving license number will show. Your name number will show. And then your SIN number will show. So the ID, the national ID, will be the supreme that captures all the data.
Okay.
So that's how so it's not going to be in competition. The thing cannot be in competition with the national card, nor the driving license card be in competition with that. All will be subsumed under it. There will be some steps within the bigger set, which is the national ID.
All right. What's been the communication to the public institutions that are supposed to be involved in the whole process? Again, our checks today showed that some didn't have any sort of communication, and so they were not able to effect it like it's supposed to be.
Yeah, we will plead their indulgence and involvement, because this thing, we've had a lot of interaction with them. And we expect that every institution that sends that we are, public-spirited and are nation-bound, must be supportive of this major work that's being done for GRA, which is meant for the betterment of all of us. All of us. So we expect that institutions involved, where the team number is a requirement to play along and support us. Because the revenue administration has that legalized and this implementation of the thing was started as far back as 2015. Yes.
And how effective do we think this would be in our quest to generate more revenue? What are your expectations?
Our expectation is that the taxpayer base would widen up and that more people will be roped in the tax net, and that taxpayer activities can be trailed and tracked so that there will be correct reporting of tax revenue to support the activities of the state. And we, like the president, has a huge vision. We need to play our part to ensure that the government's vision is achieved.
And one quick one before we let you go. I mean, so what's going to be the strategy going forward now that, I mean, we know that just a few people know about this tin registration process? Are you going to change the strategy in terms of sensitization? What are you going to do about it?
We are going to have intensification of education, and surprisingly, Captain Smart is standing like 3 meters away from me. We prevail upon all of them to come on board to support us. This is a national call. We all have to play a part. And this is the country, this is the one country we have. We have no other country. But then to be a major part of the country's work, we need the tax-paying public to conform. Ghana's tax to GDP ratio is just around 16.7%. Others within the vicinity, even poorer than us, are having 22%. We need to improve on our tax collection as a portion of the GDP. And we need all of this to come on board to help us to fight out and achieve for the betterment of the generation to come.
All right, thanks very much for your time tonight. That was Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Mano Kofi Nti, shedding some more light on the tin registration process. But let's get some perspective now from economists at the University of Cape Coast, Professor John Gotti, who is lauding the enforcement of the process, saying it would enhance revenue generation. In an interview on the Marketplace, Professor Gotti, however, noted that the mechanism would be more effective with the coming on stream of the national identification system.
Well, I think it's for identification purposes and to stress people who are engaged in economic activities for them to be able to pay the tax And I also do believe that the way GRA is going about it, linking into services and other activities, even though it may sound very harsh, it is aimed at incentivizing people to do the right thing for the tax authority to administer the tax collecting process effectively.
Now, we have several times highlighted the fact that we need to widen the tax net, and still this particular intervention seeks to focus on taxpayers already in the system. Do you have any different opinion?
Well, I think any action taken by GRA, which does not infringe on the rights of the people, but to provide a space for all this, and including those people who have already been paying tax in one way or the other, to pay it correctly, is something that should be encouraged. But I believe to enhance a process where more people will be encouraged to participate in the payment of tax across board.
All right, Professor John Gachi there, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of discussions about this subject in the days to come. That'll be it for business. My name is Darryl Kwao.
You're welcome back. Now, traveling to Panda District in the northern region can be a nightmare because of the terrible nature of the road. With the onset of the rainy season, residents are jittery because the already terrible roads would become unmotorable. Bad roads have made it difficult for commercial vehicles to ply that route, and if you ever miss a bus to Tamale from Panda, then you will have to wait until the next day. Jojo Kopina has more in the following report.
This is the reality of public transportation in the Panda District of the northern region. You may never opt to travel in this rusted and rickety vehicle, but in places like Panda, that option is non-existent.
One trip on a power car, on Samba, or the passing about this or Chinabio. Because when I'm a cousin and Nantiha. Asaji Sochina, Okota Malosua, Umisaji Sochina, or China Sawasa, Oba Casalaga, Kwajisa, Oda, at the chance of Abba. When and Marcus and 20 minutes to Panwiso.
If your vehicle breaks down in the middle of the road, then you will know that you are in for a real adventure.
I say, I just offer when Yanko, no member. They wouldn't hear one friend I want because Kabia no ever HMWA, the car say passing as Afro. 20 one way.
Even with a good vehicle, navigating the terrain is not easy. If you have to travel to the hospital, your best bet would be a motorbike. Panda District is a hub for yam cultivation. Unfortunately, transporting yam down south is not an easy task. Apart from enduring bad roads, many vehicles frequently break down.
Nti ya wochire wa hapa kumasi nyina ye ne fidio bia bayire ye nso so ye beto bayire no ekwa no nye enti ye kwa ye bayire tumi hwiegu bi na hwiegu agu osisi ye afen so ama akuafo no so ade bayire ne bre bayire ne boy ne ye den enti ye sramu ada ye pamucho na na wanhwa na onye bibi kakra ma ye ensuo to na agidwa ne nyina ye nya baby nyina.
The Deputy Minister for Road and Transport, Anthony Cabo, promised in November 2017 that Panda roads will be completed in the middle of 2018.
The town roads for Panda has been a priority for the government, and my colleague in Parliament has written officially to the ministry, and we have further instructed that measurements of those roads and the bills of quantity should be submitted to the ministry. And I'm I think that the bills have been submitted to the ministry, and we are going to immediately work on it to get a contractor to deal with those roads, especially that of Sandai, Bimbila, and Salaka. So give and take, I think that by middle of 2018, these roads should have been done.
With 2 months away from the promised deadline, Joy News would sure follow up to check up on the project. Jojo Kobna, Joy News.
Now, many Ghanaians enjoy smoked fish, which often accompanies a variety of local dishes. But safety of processed fish is usually compromised due to poor handling. With the introduction of an improved fish processor known as the Ahoto oven, the situation is set to change soon. Joy News' Adelaide Arthur has been interacting with fishmongers in Elmina in the central region who are using the new technology and are determined to supply the local market with fish that is safe for consumption.
Peace Gavo has been processing fish for 33 years. She's now transforming her business, paying close attention to fish safety, value addition and branding.
How to package your fish.
I have been trained on fish handling and packaging, so I stopped selling smoked fish in baskets and decided to package them in disposable packs instead.
Peace is one of several fishmongers in Elmina who are now using the smoke-free Ahoto oven to process fish.
Those who developed the oven have assured us of safety, so we can market our products in supermarkets and export them as well.
The Ahoto oven is an improvement on the popular Choco smoker. Developed by the Fisheries Commission and the USAID Sustainable Fisheries Management Project, the technology limits release of harmful smoke.
This consultant from US decided to design a combustion chamber that would result in complete combustion when you are smoking the fish. We have a metal tray. Now, this metal tray is supposed to take up the oil that will drop in the fire and then generate incomplete combustion, therefore results in the production of carbon monoxide smoke.
Located close to the busy London site in Elmina is a renovated fish processing facility. Managed by the Central and Western Fishmongers Improvement Association, SAWEFIA, with support from SFMP, the facility has been training women on how to hygienically handle fish to avoid contamination during processing. These fishmongers have also been introduced to the Ahoto oven. They say fish processed with the new oven tastes better.
First,
we have to wash our hands. We then clean the fish thoroughly. We work in teams throughout the process. There has been an improvement since the introduction of the Ahoto oven. The Choco smoker consumes a lot of fuel wood, and the smoke irritates our eyes.
Managers of the SAWEFIA fish processing facility say it is open to all fishmongers. The new intervention, according to government, is necessary to enable Ghanaians export processed fish, which was banned from entering EU market in 2014 due to safety issues.
We have to, make sure we are doing the right thing regards food safety, which means that our people will come, our fisheries officers will come, and then audit whatever you are doing, and then if everything is right, then they will push you and then accept you, register you, and then give you the label.
Within the next 6 months, government expects to distribute 250 Ahoto ovens to processors in coastal regions. Fishmongers will also get raised racks to hygienically dry fish. The Ahoto oven could cost as much as 2,300 cedis, but the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development says it is helping to secure soft loans for fishmongers to enable them acquire the oven. Adelaide Arthur, Joy News, Elmina.
Now, the Inspector General of Police, David Asante-Apietu, has directed the Police Intelligence and Professional Standards Bureau, PIPS, to probe the alleged brutality of multimedia journalist Lateef Idrisu last Tuesday at the CID headquarters in Accra. Whilst reporting on the disturbances at the police CID following the arrest of NDC Deputy General Secretary Koku Anyidoho, some police personnel allegedly pounced on Lateef Idrisu, kicking and hitting him with the butt of their guns. Joy News is learning, due to series of pressures mounted on the police force to look into the matter, the IGP Tuesday morning issued a memo to PIPS to investigate the issue. In a related development, the NDC Deputy General Secretary Koku Anyidoho Tuesday morning reported to the police CID headquarters for interrogation. The state is expected to decide whether or not to charge Mr. Anyidoho for his alleged treasonable comments. Lead lawyer for Koku Anyidoho, Victor Adawudu, tells Joy News his client would emerge victorious after the police concludes its investigations.
I'm sure that any national issue, he can opine on it. But with this particular matter, I don't think he will speak on it. He's a law-abiding citizen. We are law-abiding. We would want the police to do their investigation. We will not impeach any process. Let's allow the police to have their free hands. If they find anything, which is this, they will call us and charge us. If they don't find anything, I'm sure they will also be bold to say that we have not found any evidence to this. All I can say is that the reason why the sureties came in is that anytime we are looking for him, you produce him. So that is the only condition that he has to. There's no restriction. He has some freedom as of now. Until that albatross that had been hung around his neck is taken off, he's a free man for now. I don't know what they have, but for us as Koku, we think that the statement we have made, when we look at it and analyze it, if it's inappropriate, we will say, I think our choice of word at that time. We are confident that we have not committed any crime. We are confident that, yes, in communicating, we may learn our lessons, the choice of word we will use. But we are very confident that we have not committed anything.
In other news, about 19,000 young men and women who have been working as community health nurses in deprived and rural areas of the country for the past 2 years under the Youth and Health Policy module by the Youth Employment Agency would be granted financial support as they exit the program in August. Some beneficiaries who spoke to Joy News, however, raised concerns over the delay in the payment of the allowances. Here's Justin Kodia, who is CEO of the Youth Employment Agency, responding to those concerns.
When we came, there was no basis for us to pay allowances. So we introduced what is called the beneficiary timesheet, whereby in a month it states the number of time the beneficiary went to work, and payments are made based on that. The timesheet counts, people have to work on it. Sometimes the beneficiary themselves, delay in submitting the timesheets to us. What we communicated to them was that the timesheets are supposed to reach the head office by the 21st. Sometimes we realize that it's 26, 27 that they are bringing the timesheet. So if it comes at that time, definitely there will be delay in the payment. But we can assure them that anybody who genuinely has work and also owe, the allowance will be paid.
Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Insia Asari, speaking at the launch, explained there's a need to transition community nurses to mainstream nursing to boost staff strength, mostly in the rural communities.
They've been working in the villages, they call them nurses, isn't it? So why do you throw away nurses and then we don't train them? But I would love that they all become community health nurses because they are already in the community. They know the community. They understand the community entry. They understand the people that they are working with. And above all, I think that it's going to even assist us because most of them are from districts. They will be in their own districts. They understand the language. They understand the culture of the people so that we have an equitable distribution of our health staff that we train.
Call it the most conducive hospital facility in the Greater Accra region. At least it has earned that title and is the 2017 best hospital in the region. It may not have all the facilities and luxuries that other hospitals have in the city, but the Ada East Hospital prides itself in premium customer care. Medical Director of the hospital, Dr. Philip Na, however, says lack of vehicles to even convey consumables from Accra to the hospital sometimes affects delivery. But for a facility established in a culturally sensitive area, some medical decisions are not easily accepted. Joy News' Martha Crensel Aqua visited the facility and interacted with the medical superintendent.
In fact, we have one old hospital ambulance, but unfortunately the national ones are out of commission, as they say. They are not on road. So that is also a challenge, but we are managing.
But are you making efforts to get one? Because you were talking about sometimes the need to repair.
Yes, in fact, the facility, we cannot acquire it on our own. Okay. Through NGOs and maybe through the government, we can get one because it's quite expensive. And now if you look at the money that we generate, we cannot. In fact, one of the things that we need also very, very urgently is a duty post vehicle. Okay. In fact, Ada is quite far from Accra, and we collect all of our consumables and other things going to meetings in Accra. We don't have any pickup. In fact, this hospital is 15 years old. The only pickup we had is broken down totally beyond repairs. So that's also where we have a challenge. Now, when we are called for a meeting or when we want to go and procure something like buying of foodstuffs and other things for the facility, we fall on commercial cars. Wow. Nowadays, what we've been seeing is Okada accident. I don't know whether the motor accident.
So many here too.
It is terrible. Now that is in fact, when we talk of road crashes or accidents, the motor, yes, the motor riders or the Okadas, the one that they use it for commercial purpose. That has been our biggest challenge.
The fatality rate?
Yes, it's high. You know, on this our tar road, when you sleep, they are not in helmet. Most of them come with head injury. Most of them come with head injury, and it is quite a serious issue. In fact, just about 5 days ago, one was rushing. We have to amputate the leg. The staff is still on admission. So that is the biggest challenge that we have in this community now regarding emergencies. Once in a while, we'll have alcohol intoxication, especially at the weekends.
Really?
When there are funerals and everything. Yes. We do have those things, and they rush them. So although it's a small emergency area, always we are busy. I haven't mentioned all the challenges.
Yes.
But God being on our side, we are doing very, very well. In fact, last year, 2017, we were adjudged the best hospital in the Greater Accra region. What we call the peer review.
Yes.
So every year we move from facility to facility to peer review ourselves. And I must say that for the past 2 years we've been doing very well. For 2016 we were second. Okay. 2017 we were first. Okay. And it is just a lot of hard work. But you can see for yourself the facility, we try to maintain it. We have about 7 thematic areas that they used to assess us. Okay. And I think overall,
what are these areas?
We talk about client care, clinical practice, our environment, emergency services, all those areas. Check.
Yes. And I think you have maintained it very well. What's your secret? What do you do that makes you stand out?
It is commitment. Okay. I must say that always, you see, down here we don't have money. If you post staff, clinical staff, we don't have what we call locums in Ada to do private jobbing. No, we don't have. Okay. But I tell you, our staff are very committed. When you come and you see them working, you will, I don't know, it will marvel you. You will ask why. But another secret is that we recognize hard-working staff, and we award them. Just end of this year, that's 2017. Yes, we awarded the only 2 anesthetists that we have for this big hospital. Can you imagine? Only 2 anesthetists. Day and night, they're on duty. And they appreciated it. And that is something that I'll say that we have been doing, management have been doing. And because of that, our staff are also happy and working.
Now, President Akufo-Addo says he's very mindful of the promises made to Ghanaians and is very much committed to delivering them. According to him, his government will ensure all pledges are delivered within the 4-year mandate of his presidency. He was addressing members of the Kente Weavers Association from the Ashanti region who called on him at the Jubilee House.
You've brought me the best of Kente. I really appreciate your effort. My government is committed to delivering on all promises. I pledge to fulfill all promises during my campaign. I hope to fulfill all pledges at the end of my tenure.
Members of the association presented a special design kente cloth called Osiadieyo in recognition of the government's campaign promise of free senior high school, the establishment of the Office of Special Prosecutor, and the restoration of the nursing training allowance. Here is Secretary of the Association, Kwame Nyame.
This educational policy of Your Excellency President Nana Addo has brought a big relief to parents, guardians, and students across the country. We have the conviction that the policy will go a long way to pave way, especially for brilliant but needy children to have access to quality education for better future. 2, restoration of teacher and nursing trainees allowances. On behalf of the parents, guardians, and trainees, we say a big thank you to Your Excellency President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo for restoring teacher and nursing trainee allowances to bring some relief to the trainees in their pursuit of higher education to serve Ghana. 3, Office of the Special Prosecutor. This office set up by Your Excellency President Nana Addo and headed by Mr. Martin Emidu, with no doubt go a long way to help prevent or fight against corruption that has bedeviled the economy of our beloved country. Upon these 3 major political campaign promises fulfilled within 1 year of Nana Addo's presidency, the Adangmasi Kente Weavers and Sellers Association have designed Kente, named Osiadieyo Akufo-Addo, in honor of the President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. We aimed at honoring Your Excellency Nana Addo to continue working hard to fulfill 1 district, 1 factory, and 1 village, 1 dam political campaign promise made to help create millions of meaningful jobs, especially for the youth in the country.
Welcome back. So in the headlines, Ghana Revenue Authority comes under criticism by some members of the public for inadequate sensitization about tax identification number. But the authority says it is working around the clock to ensure enforcement of the policy despite the challenges. 12 Nigerians in custody of New District Police after they were nearly attacked by some angry residents in that vicinity for allegedly engaging in internet fraud. The man whose injections allegedly led to the death of 4 persons at the new Senchi Health Center has been charged with murder. In business, some financial and public institutions yet to comply with the directive by the GRA to withdraw services from clients who do not have the tax identification number. And some nurses and patients at the Tamale West Hospital raised red flags over a dilapidated structure they operate and access health care in, while another structure remains completed.